Hello everyone, I am Ayush Yoshi from class 10. Today, I am going to share some interesting facts about NASA. NASA is one of the most well-known space agencies in the world. It was officially established on 29th of July 1958. But did you know it was first made during World War I as the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics? It improved and tested aeronautical designs for the US, French, and German air forces. But during the Cold War, it was renamed as NASA or National Aviation and Space Agency and participated in the space race with the Soviet space program. NASA launched its first satellite on 31st of July 1959 and called it the Explorer 1. But USSR had already accomplished this by the Sputnik 1 3 months ago. After this, NASA initiated the Mercury program. This had three simple objectives. One, to orbit man in space. Two, to see how man performed in space. And three, to recover both man and spacecraft back from space. These three objectives were accomplished by the Mercury 3 and Mercury 6 missions. After the Mercury project, NASA started the Gemini project. This had three objectives. One, to see how astronauts performed in space for a long duration, which was accomplished by the Gemini 7 mission, which stayed in space for 13 days. Two, how astronauts could get out of the space capsule, which was accomplished by the Gemini 4 mission done by astronaut Ed White. Three, to dock two spacecraft in space. This was accomplished by the Gemini 8 mission. After the Gemini program, the Apollo program aimed to land people on the moon. The first Apollo mission was a failure in which all three of the astronauts died in a fire in the Apollo capsule. For the Apollo mission, NASA made the Saturn V rocket. The Apollo 4 mission was the first test flight of Saturn V. The Apollo 7 mission was the first flight of the Apollo program after the Apollo 1 disaster. This was the first time the Apollo capsule was used. The Apollo 8 mission flew around the moon, and the Apollo 9 mission docked the command module and the lunar module of the Apollo spacecraft. The famous Apollo 11 mission happened on 16th of July 1969 and 4 days later landed on the moon. The capsule was landed by Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong was the first man to land on the moon. Almost 650 million people watched the moon landing. They collected 21 kilos of lunar material and took numerous photographs of the moon. The third lesson on astronaut of the Apollo 11 mission was Michael Collins, who stayed in the command module. A total of 12 Apollo missions were conducted, the last of them being the Apollo 17. This officially ended the space race and was won by the US. After the Apollo mission, NASA sent multiple satellites and rovers into space. The most famous of them being the Space Shuttle program, the International Space Station, multiple Mars and Moon rovers, the Cassini mission to Saturn, the Hubble Space Telescope, and the most recent, the James Webb Telescope. Isn't it interesting? Thank you for listening to this podcast. Until next episode, I am Ayush Yoshi signing off. Thank you.